Nigeria's reading culture received a boost with the Ignite Africa Walk session designed to mobilize efforts to revive the reading culture in the country. It featured a special walk session from Teslim Balogun Stadium Lagos through the major streets of Surulere back to the stadium. Some Nigerian celebrities who identified with the initiative shared the essence of promoting a reading culture in the country.
I thought that it was important that people get to be part of this. I also believe that the death of learning, the absence of education, and the spread of ignorance is one of the reasons why we're having so many issues. Either the people are not properly educated or even not educated at all. And education cannot be built on a foundation that is poor. People have to learn how to read to be able to write. They cannot write what they don't know how to read. And so you find that people already miss that foundation of learning how to read, spell, and pronounce a lot of things. And so it just fractures their growth process all along. And once you don't know how to read, it doesn't encourage you to want to acquire knowledge.
People will tell you that Africans are people of parables and proverbs. And some of those cultures are gradually fading. And what we can do is to continually read, get to understand some of these cultures, and bring them back to play in our lives. A lot of times when I want to invite people, I remember I just use a particular word from some of those proverbs that I've heard, and it summarizes everything that is there to learn. So I think it's very important that we keep improving ourselves and we keep reading. It's very, very important.
This course is basically to revive the reading culture in our society, in our system. It's basically to reignite that core value which makes us a people, which forms the very fabric of who we are, and that is reading. Because reading adds wealth, it adds knowledge, increases you in knowledge, it increases who you are, and that's why I'm a part of it.
I think what Kola is doing is fantastic because some of us went to school in the analog era, you would say, where a lot of the education was done by reading books. You had no option, you had to read. Now with technology, I think a lot of time that is supposed to be, number of hours that a child is supposed to put into reading books has reduced drastically. And then what you tend to see is a lot of shortcuts. And shortcuts do not make for the right level of development. So if we have children who begin to live on very superficial information, they will grow up to become, very superficial leaders. And then the challenges that we have as a country, as a people, requires, fully engaged leaders who really will make a difference. So I think what is happening here today is a sort of social investment that is being made to ensure that we have Nigeria that is better, that is greater than what we have today.
Students who also participated shared how the experience with Ignite Walk Africa has helped them in their reading capacity.
Okay, to Ignite's reading club, it was very good because when they came to our school, I was not reading type initially, but when I was joined because of my English teacher, and she had to tell me to join, and since then I was open to checking dictionaries for some grammars being made in the books given to us, so that improves my vocabulary when speaking. And now my mom says that I should join it, like it's very good for me, and I too believe it's very good for me.
It's really helped me a lot. It has helped me in my vocabularies, in my pronunciation. It's also helped me knowing other people's culture, way of life, and so on.
And so it makes us to know more English and what we read on. So it increases our vocabularies. E.g., like some words that is very difficult to pronounce. When we read, we have an ideas and difficult to find in the dictionary, and so we learn more better.
It has helped me so many ways because firstly, I don't like reading, but when I now met the Ignite Africa readers of leaders, so I started reading so many books. I've joined my friends, we form group like reading culture, we read together. So it has really helped me in so many ways.
For the coordinator of Ignite Walk Africa, Mr. Kola Oyeyemi, with a focus on readers are leaders, it is a renewed effort to ensure that reading is revamped and becomes more valued than ever in the country.
This initiative started from a passion to see a change in Nigeria. And once upon a time when we were growing up, we had an environment that was quite intelligent. If you were not a reader, it wasn't an environment for you, okay? We had teachers who were genuinely interested in seeing us read and turn out well in life. We had libraries in schools, okay? And we also had parents who were very interested in us reading. But unfortunately today, we find that those things are fast disappearing. We were so good in those days that we had the brain drain. People came here to poach our doctors, our nurses, our teachers to elsewhere in the world. But these days, we're the one going abroad to bring in people to do the jobs that Nigerians should do. I've tried to hire managers in Nigeria, and it's been impossible because, yes, they have certificates, but the certificates are not anything to write home about in terms of practice. And so what we're doing right now is say, how do we change that trajectory? How do we get people reading again? How do we get people to love reading? Because only readers become great leaders. And so this entire scheme is to say, one, let us generate awareness. If you look at the last 6-7 years in Nigeria, the results of national exams have been disastrous. We no longer talk about pass rates, we talk about failure rates. Now, where is that going to take us as a nation? We are multiplying at a very alarming rate, but intelligence is going down. Excellence is becoming a historical issue. We can't afford to continue that way. We can't afford to allow all the jobs that should be done here in Nigeria by Nigerians to be done by other people because Nigerians are not competent enough or because people can't trust us. And so here is a way to reawaken that and say, we once had the glory days in Nigeria. We were once the pride of the world in terms of intelligence. We were once people that everybody else were looking for. How come we're the ones looking for everybody else? If you want to hire a tiler now, they say go to Cotonou. You want to hire a baker, they tell you go to Togo. You want to hire a manager, you go to India, you go to China. You want to hire a business leader, you go to America, you go to Europe. And so, where would Nigerians be? Crime is the next thing. We can't afford that. So this is a desire to say, let's change the trajectory. Let's get people to love reading all over again. Let's get people to support what we are doing. Not because we need money, even though we need money, but we need money to get books. We need money to sponsor book clubs in schools. We need money to support people who are volunteering to ensure that this gets done. A lot of young people who ordinarily would have had other things doing are investing their time and energy and resources into this, okay? So we're looking for people who support us to say, let's get people reading all over again. Let's get Nigerians become the intelligent people that the world loved and the world wanted. Let's change the trajectory of failure rates in exams and turn it to pass rates. It can't be worse than what it is today. The only way to go is to turn it around and make Nigeria once more a nation that the world will respect, because only readers become leaders. We have lost that hedge. We need to get it back.
Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmadu Bello, and Chief Obafemi Awolowo were great leaders in the 60s and 70s, and they had one thing in common: they were well read. With the Ignite Work initiative, the prospects of having once again leaders who are sound, intellectual, eloquent, and articulate are bright for Nigeria.